Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to make the perfect potato soup. So you want to start your pan, and the first thing I like to do is slice my bacon, and I like to do it when it's cold. It's a lot easier to slice. So I use a full package and I just cut it up into strips, and then you're going to toss it into a hot pot and then use your spoon. I'm using a wooden spoon. You're going to want to break it all up like this. The next ingredient is an onion. I'm just going to peel it real quick, and then I use about 3/4, but I do like to dice it pretty finely. This way you're not biting into a large chunk, but rather a smaller piece. The next thing I do is peel my carrots, and then I also chop these up pretty fine. I use about 4 or 5. I'll list everything below and the amounts that I use as always. But I like to peel them, cut them in half, and then cut them long ways. It just makes it easier, makes the pieces a little bit more uniform as far as size goes. Same thing for the celery. After I wash it, I chop off the ends, and then I like to cut it into thirds, flip it over, slice it a few times depending on how thick of a piece it was, and then chop it into pieces about this size. After the bacon's cooked, I like to pull it out of the pan and put it on a paper towel to help soak up some of the grease, but I do not drain what's left in the pan. You're going to use this for the rest of your cooking. Now you can add your ingredients. Again, we used onion, celery, and carrots. Mix it up real good to make sure the bacon grease covers all of it. This will give it an amazing flavor. And you're just going to let it cook for about 5 minutes until everything becomes tender. My next step is to peel the potatoes. I used russet potatoes here, and I peeled 5, but I only used 4. You'll see in probably some of the later clips I didn't use it all, but just so you know, I peeled 5, but I only ended up using 4. As an additional flavoring, I'm going to add the salt lick chicken seasoning here. I just put in a few dashes, mix it up real well, and this always gives it a nice little touch. The size of the potatoes that you choose is really up to you, and as far as how big of chunks you want, that is up to you as well. I like to do bite-sized pieces. I think it cooks a lot faster, it cooks better, and then when I want to mash it up, which I'll show you later, it makes it a little bit easier. So I just cut them long ways and then dice them as you just saw. Then I'm going to add them to the pan and then mix everything real well. For the broth part of the soup, I'm going to add some free-range chicken broth. I used the whole carton, and then I also added about a cup to a cup and a half of water, just so I can limit my salt intake. Now you can add the broth to your pan. Just pour slowly so you don't spill it everywhere. Mix well and then put the lid on. And you're going to let this boil. I bring it up to a boil, and you're going to let it cook till your potatoes are nice and tender. This clip is kind of funny because I used a measuring cup to pour into a bigger measuring cup, which was kind of redundant. But anyways, I used half and half in milk. I like to use different ingredients because the fat content and the flavor. And then I also used 3 tablespoons of flour. Mix that up real well to avoid any clumps. And then once this is ready, you can add this to your pan. And this is going to thicken it up very nice, give it a great flavor, and be the perfect ingredient for your soup. As you can see here, it is turning a beautiful cream color. It is already starting to thicken, which is what we want. So now I'm taking my potato masher, and I am just going to mash probably about half of what's there. It took me about a minute or so, but you can use however much of this technique as you want to. And this is the final result. It is always better the second or third day, just a tip. But thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy. I promise this one is an excellent recipe.